Hello everyone, my name is Jana Stupovsky and I'm your data visualization instructor. This is the last video pertinent to Tableau terminology module, and we will talk about the marks cards. Marks card is the brain of the formatting in Tableau. You can find it in the view. It's almost in the middle of the screen, and it offers multiple options for formatting. We're going to demonstrate several of them. We're going to work with our real estate data set. Let's say we want to pull in sale date, and we want to look at how many units, how many homes sell in each of the 2 counties that we have in our data set over the course of 5 years. We have previously used the field, the pale transaction ID, and we measured count. We can flip the view. We measured the count, but because each row in our data set is a unique sales transaction, which is what we want to show in our chart, we can also, instead of using transaction ID field, use auto-generated measure by Tableau. With each data set that you bring into the workbook, Tableau auto-generates certain fields and it puts them in italic. That makes you see that those are auto-generated rather than your own variables. And the one that picks up the name of your data set with the phrase count in parentheses after it is a measure that basically counts the number of rows. Because each row in our data set is a unique sales transaction, it's basically identical to our transaction ID variable. So we can use that instead of transaction ID pill in our view in order to show number of transactions that took place each year, or in other words, how many homes were sold each year. So I can take this and replace, and it will maintain the abbreviation CNT count. It's counting number of rows. And it's that change is reflected in the label that was auto-generated for the axis. And we now have a simple bar chart showing us number of sales transactions or number of homes that were sold in Mobile and Baldwin counties in Alabama from 2014 to 2018 on annual basis. So, what can we do now to utilize our marks card? Marks card allows us to, for one, change the type of chart we're using. We could, in this case, use area as well, but it may not be the best choice for the purpose of this chart. We can always go with automatic and let Tableau decide for us, but I like to use bar chart for this. Now remember, depending on what kind of data types and what kind of dimensions and measures are brought into the view, Tableau may gray out some of the options available in the marks card because they're simply not available with the data types that we brought into the view. Let's say that we want to, one thing that we could do is to label our charts, and we've done that in the past. So to reflect the number of transactions that took place in both counties, since we're using our auto-generated count measure, we can drag that into the labels, and we can simply label our bars. So we've sold anywhere from 15 to 16 to 15,000 homes in both counties. We can slice our view by county. So I'm going to pull county into the view. So right now I'm slicing by county first and then by year. I'm looking at each county by year. If I were to flip this, I'm looking at years first and then slicing by county. In order to, let's go back to doing it this way. And if you click on the label, there are multiple ways how you can edit the labels. You can decide to show or not show mark labels, but in this case we're showing them. We can change the text that's showing in the label. Right now we're auto-generating the numbers from the dynamic field in there. We can change the font and the alignment, and let's say that I just want to show the minimum and maximum values for each pane. A pane would be, in this case, each county. Okay, so if you look, I'm showing the minimum and maximum value in each of my panes. If I wanted to show it per the entire table, then it's going to look at the entire view here and only put a value, display the minimum and maximum value on the highest and lowest column in this view. Okay, but I want to do it per pane because I want to show the minimum and maximum value for each county. We can also just check or uncheck minimum or maximum and show only one of those, but I'm going to leave it as it is. What we could do is, in this case, change the size of the bars if we wanted to, and it may or may not be necessary, but that's just simple formatting opportunity that we have here. We also have a marks card. We also have an option to adjust colors, and by default Tableau just goes with generic blue. We can change it to green or brown or gray. We're gonna stick with I'm gonna stick with the gray for now, but if I wanted to, let's say, look at it by year and then by county, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. My headers for each county, my labels for each county are generated at the bottom, but it perhaps would be easier if each county had its own color. So what I'm going to do in order to do that, I'm going to drag county pill into color, and now Tableau generated a color legend, and now I can much more easily distinguish between the two counties because they're first sliced by year and then by county. But perhaps in order to compare them better visually, I can look at each county separately, and this allows for better comparison, and we can very quickly see that there are more homes generally sold in Mobile County than in Baldwin County. If you noticed, initially, we told Tableau to only show minimum and maximum labels per pane. And so right now we only have minimum and maximum labels showing in each county, but if I flip the view and I slice it by year and then by county, then pane becomes the year. And so it's showing minimum and maximum, or because there are only two bars in each pane, it's basically labeling all the bars in each pane. And that changes dynamically as you change your view. We're going to stick with this view for now. And one more thing I would like to do is, I think I would like to distinguish between new construction and existing homes and see how they sell in each county. So I'm going to bring my new and existing field into the view, and so now in rows, in columns I'm looking at each county, but in rows I've got the view sliced into new construction and then resale. I don't like the word resale, so I'm gonna go and change the aliases, and I'm gonna rename the resale to existing. So we now have existing and new homes being sold. Now we can very quickly draw some conclusions from this view. One is a lot more existing homes are selling overall, and that's natural because typically you have a lot more of existing homes being out there than new construction popping up quickly enough to sell. And clearly in this segment, in existing homes, Mobile County leads. But if we look at new construction, it's very obvious that Baldwin County leads when it comes to new homes. Far less of them are selling in Mobile County. Let's bring in new and existing, and make it our filter. And I only want to focus on existing construction. In fact, I'm going to show my filter, make it a single value selection, and let the user choose what they want to look at. If we wanted to, we could customize the title of this chart, and we've done that in the previous video. So we can bring in a dynamic field, new versus existing. I like to make it bold. In order not to clutter the chart with too much information, we can clean up the chart a little bit, and we can utilize what's called a tooltip. Tooltip is a little window that pops up as you hover over the chart, and that, just like the chart title, can be customized. Tooltip is available here, and as you can see, it pre-generates some basic information in there based on what fields are available already in the view. So it pre-generates information from any fields that are available in our columns or rows, or filters, or in the marks card. What I would like to do is customize this tooltip a little bit and let the user gain some additional information from here. This is the final content of the tooltip. So I'm going to make it larger, and I'm going to hit OK. You can also choose not to show tooltips, and then everything grays out and the tooltips will not show as you hover over the chart, but we're going to want to utilize the tooltips, and so I'm going to hit OK. And as I hover over my view, my tooltip reflects the selection, and it changes the content of the tooltip dynamically as I move over. Tooltips are a great help when it comes to decluttering our chart and to add some additional information into the view. In terms of decluttering, we also want to remove some redundant piece of information, and so since we already have some labels incorporated into the charts, we don't necessarily need the scale, and so we can simply unshow header, and we can also, since we already have, since our type of construction is reflected in the title, what we could also do is unshow header for this. When it comes to formatting, we can right click on in the middle of the worksheet, and we can choose format, and here are some settings to play with in terms of font, alignment, colors, of shading of the worksheet. What I like to do is perhaps remove some column dividers and some row dividers, but we can leave some grid lines. Since our legend and tooltip reflects the county, we can also clean up the view a little bit and hide the labels. If we want to show the headers again, what we could do is just come here and click the pill and show headers again. We can also format the headers and make them larger if that's what we want to do. With this module, we have now covered Tableau terminology, and we will now move on to designing different charts in Tableau. Thank you for watching.